All right, Jesper Schleimann, he's the EMEA AI officer for SAP or SAP, depending on the region. I think he got stuck in the airport, so he sent us a video.
مع طرح تقنيات جديدة يتم الإعلان عن العديد من الأفكار والابتكارات الرائعة. أعتقد أنه لتحقيق النجاح تحتاج إلى رؤية قوية وتنفيذ رائع، وهذا بالضبط ما سنفعله مع SAP Business AI. الآن قبل أن أطرد جيسبر من وظيفته، دعنا ننتقل إلى جيسبر الحقيقي ليخبرنا المزيد.
Unfortunately, he looks better in person, so please welcome him.
Thank you so much for that. Obviously, I don't speak as nice Arabic as my AI avatar, but what just used to take years and years and millions of dollars takes just a few cents with a public source AI. So thank you so much for that, for my colleagues as well, helping me. You heard my name. My name is Jesper Schleimann. I'll talk to you a little bit about a couple of important things about AI, but a bit of background first. We have seen this already, right? We know IT development is evolving at an exponential pace. We call it Moore's Law. But what's happening these days are we are seeing Moore's Law for first time in many years being disrupted itself. With AI developments, we've moved from a doubling of 18 months down to every 6 months, essentially shifting the curve upwards, meaning that the premium of being at the front end of adopting AI technology and any kind of technology has significantly shifted, and as much so being at the back end. So it is now more important than ever to listen and understand and what's going on. I will talk about 3 things. AI being the new UI and how it's really transforming from a value perspective enterprises, but also where we are in reality today on adopting AI, because this is one of the problems speaking about the future. We have to recognize that we all live in the reality where data is scattered, where processes are alive. We need to do things with right decisions and right level of explainability. And as we move forward, of course, agents are not just going to be here, they're going to be here at scale. I would stipulate agents are the new enterprise applications. So touching a bit upon that, and finally, if you hang with me for the last part, and I will move exponentially, we'll talk about what lies beyond tomorrow, what comes after agents, and where we are on that development curve. So stick in there, and I'll go fast, I promise you. Okay, 3 elements, let's dig in. First part, why are we on the maturity scale? We know that as any new technology, because remember, AI is not a product yet. It's a technology, right? It has to become a product to be adaptable. It follows this exponential adoption curve. And many enterprises are still stuck, barely getting their toes wet on this first part, really not having done any work. Quite a lot have done some work. What we define some work, Gartner says less than 10 use cases. I would say 2 really productive cases. That's typically where we are in the first part. Maybe more opportunistic, trying it out at scale. And then, of course, we have another group that's really much more repeatable, having the same approaches, practices, tools, and even moving up on the scale part. Interestingly enough, only 13% are on this scaling part, clearly leaving a strong chasm and making it very hard to really cross the gap here. This is the gap that we in SAP are dead focused on solving for our customers and potential products and customers, to help you scale and leverage and overcome all the challenges of hallucination and grounding, transparency and responsibility, making it enterprise grade to adopt these technologies at scale. Because as IDC says, the solution comes when we have a cross-departmental, cross-platform to scale these elements. So what's important, of course, is to add the right level of context. This we all know. But what is context really? Context is the important part that builds the bridge between the AI and the reality we all live in. Context, just like this picture, by the way, it's as a starting point, it's good data, right? You need the good data, but data without understanding and the semantics on top doesn't bring you anything. This picture, of course, is correct. Maybe some of you know it. But when I overlay the context and the semantics, I suddenly see that this is probably a picture or some try a recreation of Monet's famous picture, A Midnight in Paris. And now I can take this 300-year-old picture and interlace it once I have the right data with AI. And then I can uncover hidden patterns. I can talk to the data talk to the processes, make it come alive, and do things in a whole new way. And what can it tell me when I have the right context and the right data? Well, let's see. What can I make a 300-year-old picture tell me? And now you see and appreciate the finer nuances that you never saw before in a 300-year-old picture. That's the power of what we can do when we both understand and know the right things and we add the context to it. So any good AI has to stand the test of free. It has to be relevant, reliable, and responsible. We know this, but how do we do it in reality? We do it by making sure that ethics and security is not just something we talk about in a PDF, that it's hard-coded inside the core architecture. That we make sure that privacy cleaning, PI filtering, swear words, biases, all of this is managed. This is part of the equation that we add in. We bring context to the game by grounding the AI models, either through a RAG architecture or even an enterprise RAG architecture, inside the business data and the business applications, leveraging the business data to ground it and embed it in the business applications to make sure we have the right level of insight and action. And lastly, we need to scale to get it up. And we do this by embedding the AI inside the business processes. It's great I'm building a new AI app, but if no one is using it, if I'm not using it to make a bigger decision to buy things or hire the right people or move my goods faster, where's the value to the enterprise? So these are the three we have to get right. And in SAP, we work super hard, leveraging the wide ecosystem of partners we have, offering all of our customers the full freedom of choice to choose their own AI model and use these to either build their own, leveraging our BTP platform. Think of this like your Lego bricks to introduce AI to any process or application in a simple and secure way, but also to embed it inside all of our business applications. More than 100 use cases available out of the box for activation, not implementation. I'll say it again. We're talking about activation, flipping a switch, not implementation. And lastly, to transform and make AI the new UI. With SAP Joule embedded in all of our applications, now at 80%, you now have a new way and a new best collaborative, a new coworker that understands who you are and what you're trying to achieve. And this architecture offers many opportunities and many use cases. And I'll quickly just browse through a few like a trailer show, because I'm not going to put out any nice AI-generated pictures. I'm going to show you real software today, live and available right now. So you don't have to imagine, because this is what it looks like today. So the first one would be, how do I interface with my enterprise system? This is from SAP's ERP portfolio. I'm going to open up the new UI called SAP Joule. And I can see, and you can see I'm trying to hire a person. It knows who's in my team. And it uses this to auto-generate a workflow for me. It's actually beyond a workflow. It's a whole new UI. I get to pick and adjust the role positioning, choose the right date, the location. I can write words. Notice how it's creating action buttons here. And lastly, kick it off for the workflow. That's what an AI-driven UI looks like. But I could also use it to do things like defining my performance goals. I'm hiring a lot of people. You probably know this. Here I'm just filling in a simple line. I want to drive more innovation in 2023. It's filling in our success factors. The full description, I can adjust it and even move on. And by the way, this is bias cleansed. This is bias cleansed. Or I could even move in my financials. Probably if some of you have worked in finance, you know that when you have to adjust the books every quarter, there's always some mistakes, something's going wrong. This can be very tedious. And you can go on Google or Git and try and see what can I do to fix it. And you'll get a great looking answer. The only problem is it's wrong, because you need the right factual tables and the exact way to do things. So notice how with this button, Propose Error Resolution, I can now deep dive, and it gives me the exact table and the exact process I need to go to unlock and fix my financial closing the right way. Again, from our advanced financial closing, an available module inside SAP. Or lastly, if I need to do any type of analytics. Sorry. Here you can see I'm running my analytics with Joule, and I'm going to ask Joule to create a P&L and a report for me. Notice I'm going to pick the company template in a second. It's going to redefine and build the whole report for me, including the comments. And I can also ask it to summarize. And I can ask it to summarize the comments and it can relate to the input. So more than 100 use cases readily available, quite a lot coming next year, probably more than 250. So that's what you can activate today. But let's talk about tomorrow. You heard a lot about AI agents, and that of course is quite relevant to understand. We know that AI agents are really the next level of agents. And by the way, when I talk about agents, we of course talk about not co-pilots, but agents that you can give a higher level intent and it can go on your behalf with the right level of authorizations, because this is important. I don't like rogue agents. I don't want rogue agents in my enterprise system doing whatever. I of course need an agent that I've given very clear guidelines of what it can and what it cannot procure, what it can and cannot do. So of course the agents need to have this in mind, but agents of course need to be able to do planning and understand this. They need to be able to use tools, and I'm not just talking about web tools. They need to understand and use your financial tools, hiring, supply chain tools, expenses, finances. And here, luckily, we have the world's largest application portfolio in SAP that we make available as tools to the AI agents. And of course, they need reflection to learn. They need reflection, especially to manage these scenarios for the long tail when we have a lot of exceptions, so it can do that on behalf. That's the true value. That's where we spend all our time. And lastly, it needs to be multi-agents. They need to collaborate with other agents, at least as a capability, and they need to learn. So enough talk about agents. Let's see what it looks like in reality. Because already in a few years, actually 40% said by IDC of you in this room will be leveraging AI agents in your daily work to pull together data. At SAP, we just announced a few weeks ago that in Q1, that's just after New Year's, we will launch the first 2 agents for financial analysis and for dispute management, as well as our scalable agent framework, completely secure, relevant, reliable, and responsible. And you can see agents that will allow you to monitor and assess all accounts, incoming transactions, emails, generate reports, issues error warnings, and most importantly, help you resolve and simplify the complex businesses. So it's a little bit like slowly getting your hands off the steering wheel and letting the car run itself, only allowing you to step in when you need to step in. And you can imagine agents for anything from finance, beyond that, for hiring, for managing your supply chain, for spend management or customer experience, ticket resolution, and so on. Again, enough talking. Let's look at how it actually looks like. So again, now I've assigned an agent to my colleague Philip. Philip now wakes up tomorrow. Instead of Philip trying to find his own problems, now the agent has been running in the background. Let's see what the agent has found for Philip. So the agent has been running, and this is a dispute agent. It's found 2 customer cases. It's already pulled in the right elements because we built a knowledge graph that understands all of this. It pulls in the right elements of what's going on. It's telling me that this customer hasn't paid because 200 ventilation grills have not been delivered. It has the links to the delivery node, emails, and beyond. Serves me up the information. I'm sorry the video doesn't want to show you, but it just showed me a delivery node. There was no valves. I can ask it to check towards the respective sales order. I'm just writing natural text. It's saying, yes, it was in the sales order. Do you want to change it? And now it allows me to do a write back. It even creates the email script for me, and I can go in and have it memorize this scenario for the next time for the long tail. So that's what's going on with agents. And I think this is significantly going to solve the adoption problem, because now we don't have to think about our employees caring or wanting to use the AI. The AI will help us. It will help us focus our time and spend the time on the things that matter, not shifting through billions of documents and millions of lines of code, but allow and direct our attention to solve the problems that really matter at scale. So last point, and I have a lot of time because I'm speaking very fast. What's beyond tomorrow? What's after agents? Because agents are already what's being built in the labs, and you will see that early next year at scale. What lies beyond are the 4 Ps. So let's look at the first part. Personalization. Obviously, when you look at any enterprise consumer application on your phone, it looks amazing, and it's fully tailored to you. You know where you are. I'm here in Doha, knows the weather, knows what's in my schedule, and we're not even close to being there with enterprise applications for businesses. We maybe have done some pseudo work on this area, but what lies there is we will most likely have, and that one of the good reasons for that, one of them is, of course, we're not tracking on the same level the user behavior of our users and detailed inside applications. And the applications are not tailored for this. So we will see much more role-based personalization, allowing the AI to then adjust on this role-based personalization to create more specialized and individualized work paths. So have the work and the application cater to how you work for you specifically in your everyday life. And that will obviously allow us to have an increased adoption of all enterprise applications in general. And I have much more scaling of this. The next part I call predictive everywhere. We will see, and we've seen this already today, that what is so magical about the third generation of AI is that it's probabilistic in its nature. And as the previous speaker was just saying, this means that it's actually in some areas very good at guessing things that I haven't seen before and doing this magic thing, right? But the problem is that in enterprise space, we need deterministic applications. It's not really good at calculating. We need to do workarounds, maybe call exits to Python code and beyond. So this is something we have to fix. So we'll see very soon the emergence of more neurosymbolic AI, the combination of the classical symbolic AI of machine learning, linear regression, mathematical type optimizations, with the third generation of AI in one model. And this will allow us to solve some whole new ways of doing things like how precision business outcomes, like taking macro events, interpreting these, and picking the right mathematical model for optimizing my storage and my supply chain. But it also means that we'll see much more resurgence still of the classical machine learning, and maybe using AI to go back and revert to some of the machine learning parameters. And we're already seeing this in solutions today. But we can't get around data, especially proprietary data. We're running out of data. Who would have thought? Just a few years ago, we would probably see me and others on stage talking about the amazing growth of data. And of course, these large language models are built on exactly that. The amazing amounts of data available on the internet, but we're running out of it. We're running out of data. We're turning towards things like artificially created data, and we're running out of this. So as we move forward, what you have uniquely to you is what I call behavioral operational data. Data around how you use your own business processes and how business processes operate in your business. This is proprietary to you, and only you have this insight. And by combining and taking this data and either fine-tuning or embedding this together with the AI models, you will create your own differentiators. Think of it like retraining an AI on your entire business model. So this is a huge barrier we have to begin crossing. And this will be your moat in defending towards future AI-driven business models, because this will be proprietary to you if you are in an existing space. And lastly, we'll see much more what I call pervasive AI. Right now, we're seeing the resurgence of bigger is better, right? We're seeing bigger and bigger models. They require more and more money. Of course, some are open source. Remember, open source just basically means someone else is using your data, right? But still, this is a problem because they are very costly to run. And sometimes we just need a very small model that's specialized for a certain space. Actually, we'll probably see combinations or swarms of model all working together. And we will also see these models having much more contextual awareness. We will see these models deployed across different types of applications, and they will sprawl across how you use your enterprise applications. It will be a little bit like having both arms and legs, agents working in comparison and in conjunction, with your AI models. So I call it pervasive AI everywhere. These four will really be, I think, the cornerstones of what lies beyond tomorrow after AI agents. If you have appetite for more, or you want to learn more on some of these elements, or maybe you're thinking about crafting your own AI strategy for the future, I'll just leave you with a few thinking points and some best practices that you can maybe incorporate in your strategy. And if this is too much text, and I can see that already now, I've done the lazy version and even added a few QR codes to our AI feature catalog, which, by the way, is now upgraded so you can both see all the open features, but also examples of building your own value case for what this would mean for your enterprise. Our cybersecurity strategy, and by the way, AI ethics. Ethics is an important one. We know that. this ethics handbook is not for us, but it's like a guideline you can maybe use and incorporate in your own AI strategy, so you don't have to redefine this or be inspired by this. Because remember, in the end, it's about how we use the technology. It's about how we yield it ultimately for good. We are still in control of this part. So maybe let's avoid becoming this guy, and hopefully a little bit more like the AI superhero helping your enterprises solve the hard problems.
Thank you everyone for your participation and engagement. This marks the end of today's session on Business AI. I hope you all leave with the same kind of excitement for the topic of AI as I do. If not, don't worry, the robots have not taken over just yet. We still have time to catch up. It was a pleasure to present today.
Thank you.
We can take a couple of questions if you like. Ready? A question, take my mic, it's fine.
First of all, thank you for your attractive presentation for using AI. As we know about SAP, it is #1 in ERP for manufacturing companies. Okay, what you showed to us today for agents, it is only for finance, which it is mostly standard in all business. But related to, if we're going to manufacturing or the production, it is different from industry to industry. So how AI will handle this one?
So a couple of things, I agree. I mean, first of all, I just showed a few finance agents. We will have supply chain agent, balancing, travel agent, hiring agents. Quite a lot of these will come already in Q1 as well. You're right, industries will be different. So the other thing we'll also release is our multi-agent framework in our Joule design and our business technology platform underneath that will allow you to build your own agents using this framework. The advantage is then you can use your users and your data and the processes as building blocks, but then you can orchestrate your own. Of course, we will not be able to build all. Luckily, we have a lot of partners. And our partners are helping us build also 400 new applications on the side as well.
That means I need to fine-tuning the AI with my data or my industry technicality, if we can say.
Yes, so another thing I didn't mention, we are finalizing our own foundational model that will combine the two, that will come at the end of next year. And I think you will hopefully not need it to fine-tune, but you can hopefully ground the model with a lot of the context through our use of our knowledge graph and other tools. I still think to a lot of extent you should try and avoid fine-tuning because otherwise you risk kind of spending too much on an old model. So I would try and separate the two if I could, but you're right, there's a gray zone there. It's too early to say whether I think we need an industry-specific model, but for sure the combination of the tabular type models with the large language models will bring us very close to the manufacturing side of things and hopefully be able to solve for some of the big challenges there.
Last one. As we know, SAP, it is one of the expensive ERP in the customizations. So will AI help us to reduce this cost?
Oh, it's an amazing question. So we just released Joule for consulting capability. So Joule as a standalone you can run. We've built our own knowledge graph of over 470,000 tables and 7.3 million objects. That means that we've put that treasure map out of anything SAP. We've embedded it in Joule for consulting capability, so any consultant can save up to 1.5 hours a day. You can ask it how to do things, which tables, how they're connected. That's one. But also in our AI-powered tool chain, like our business technology platform and Signavio, we've also introduced things like auto-documenting code, finding the right integrations, building integrations powered by AI. We estimate this can save migration efforts between 20 to 30% for customers moving from legacy to what we call clean core.
Thank you.
Welcome. Otherwise, stop by our booth. You're welcome for more questions if you have those.
All right, so as you have seen 3-4 times, the main stage announcements are continuously coming in. So thank you so much once again. Big round of applause, and we are done for today's track here. Thank you.